Today I'm going to show you how you can modify an ordinary sprinkler valve so you can get more power out of your air cannons. Plus it gives you this really cool trigger. You're going to need one sprinkler valve, one blowgun attachment. This is meant for an air compressor, so you'll find it near the air compressor stuff. 1/4 inch brass nipple, some pipe thread tape. This yellow stuff is designed for gas, and some epoxy. First, you're going to want to remove the solenoid valve. We're not going to need it anymore. Then we got to remove all the screws to get inside this valve. And remove the cover. Now don't lose any of the parts in here. There's a spring underneath this piece. We can just set that aside for now. And now you want to drill a 1/2 inch hole right in the top center of the cover. Let's take a look at how the solenoid valve works so you can understand why this modification works. The air goes in the input inlet and fills around this area here. This membrane covers that area, but air actually can leak through it very slowly onto the top, which pushes back down on the membrane. The air that gets on top also leaks through this slot. The air will fill up this little chamber where the solenoid valve usually sits. The solenoid valve covers that tiny hole in there, preventing the air from leaking. You can see it normally comes out here. This piece normally hooks up to the exhaust outlet, right here. When you trigger the solenoid valve, the air escapes through that tiny hole, the pressure drops on top of the membrane, and all the air pressure underneath the membrane pushes it up, allowing the air to escape. But because that hole is so tiny, the air can only escape very slowly. This means your valve will open very slowly, and you won't get a lot of power out of it. This 1/2 inch hole allows that air to escape much faster, meaning that your valve is going to open very quickly and give you a lot more power. So next, let's mix up some epoxy. We're going to use this to cover up that hole that goes into the solenoid chamber. Mix it up good, and then apply a liberal amount to that hole. When it's done, it should look something like this. Now, put some thread seal tape on one end of the brass nipple. Make sure you use the kind that's rated for gas. Now thread that onto your blowgun. And make sure it's nice and tight. Now use some more thread seal tape on the other end of the brass nipple. And then carefully thread it into the top of the solenoid valve. Make sure you put it in as straight as possible. And once it's all the way in, make sure the brass nipple is flush with the bottom of the solenoid valve. You don't want it to stick down farther. And that's basically it. Now we just have to put the thing together. So put it in your spring, and then realign the membrane. Then put the two halves together. The last thing you have to do is put all those screws back in. When you're done, it should look like this. And that's all there really is to it. Now all you have to do to fire this thing is pull on this trigger, and you're all set. That's a really simple mod you can do in an hour, and all the parts you can get at your local hardware store. And you get more power for your air cannons. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you like my videos.